All right, y'all. What's going on? Welcome to the Awareness Channel. My name is TC. So I've been talking about Donald Trump and these troops that he's sending, these National Guards troops that he's sending into the black cities. I've been thinking a little bit more about that, checking that out a little bit more. You know what I mean? And I got to say this while it's up in my head, because I did live in an area that was, the hood in my city. It was, I don't want to say a lot of crime, but there was always a lot of cops around. Because when you think about it, relatively speaking, it wasn't a lot of crime. It was just really, the crime that was there was real intense. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Everybody in my hood wasn't a criminal. Matter of fact, 99% of us weren't criminals. We all went to work. But that 1%, that 1% was a motherfucker. They was shooting each other. They was killing. I mean, I heard gunfire outside my house before. Scared the shit out of me. I'm a motherfucking civilian. I mean, I know I look cool and everything, but I'm a fucking civilian at the end of the day. I go to work, I come home, I make my money the slow way. I know a lot of them niggas, but I didn't associate with them like that. Some of them niggas had it through and through their system. I mean, thugging and gangstering and shit. They wore that shit like a badge of honor. So I was a civilian. So I get it. I understand how some people live is how they live. I used to get in discussions with some of them cats. And some of the things they admired about me and some things I admired about them. Yes, I did. They they worked primarily overnight. Like they start at maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they work all night. And I work, 3:30 to 1 a.m. at the factory or 5 to 3 a.m. at 3 p.m. at the factory, one of them shifts. But anyway, we'll get together and talk at the bar every once in a while on the weekend, and I'll be saying like this. Y'all motherfuckers got a freedom that I don't have. Y'all got a freedom that I don't have. And I got a security that y'all don't have. I know that my money comes in slow and I have to work really hard physical labor for it. And it take me a week to what y'all can make in a day. Or shit, sometimes 4 hours, 1 hour. Y'all make a lot of money really, really fast. And it can get taken away from you just like that. And bro man said, yeah, but we take precautions and we do this and we do that. We do things, you know what I'm saying? I said, yeah, I understand. But still, they passing laws that can wipe you out in a heartbeat. Now, I admire y'all freedom and I admire y'all guts, but I can never do that. But the nasty side of it came into it, where they was fighting each other for space in that small ass town, and they was shooting each other. And a lot of times it was collateral damage. And they young and stupid and they do drive-bys, the young ones do anyway. You know what I mean? And they just had this disregard for black life over the money that they was making off selling the drugs that the U.S. government flooded the black community with. And so that's where we at now. Fast forward to like right now. Same shit. A little bit different dynamic, but same dynamic. You remove all the opportunity out the community. You flood the community with guns, with drugs. And you let them fight for territory. You let them fight for territory because that's what they're doing in a lot of these big cities. If it was going on in my little town of less than 100,000 people, you look at it as a microcosm of what's going on in these larger cities. Now, Like I said before, it's a hustle out here. All the way around. Whether you doing 9 to 5 motherfucking W-2 work, or you entrepreneur, or you know, in the underground economy. It's still a hustle. But the underground economy, it get nasty. It get real, real nasty. So now, Donald Trump is using that, just like I could figure that out. Donald Trump is using that as an excuse to put troops on the street. National Guard troops. These National Guard troops ain't gonna do a goddamn thing except harass people. Because by now, the dope dealers and the dope boys know they coming, and they not stupid. But my thing is also, and so I don't know what ground they think they're gonna make, other than do a lot of stop and frisk. Snatching up people for no reason, having to let them go, because I can't see any good happening from the National Guard firing on somebody. Other than all hell gonna break loose. Just like it did back in 1971, I believe it was. That's what's liable to happen. If the so-called criminals who shooting up these cities, do something stupid. And they gotta know, I don't care how many guns they got in their house, they can't outgun the National Guard. Now, don't nobody want to see it come like that. So that's why, like I said, these so-called thugs, they're going to stand down. They're going to stand down. They're going to have to. Or they're going to have to move deeper underground. They'll probably move deeper underground, I'm thinking. But a lot of them going to have to stand down. But what did Smokey say about Debo when he leave? I'll be talking again. When the National Guard leave, they'll be thugging again. Because look, you got the police. I've been thinking about the motherfucking police and how I always say they react to crime. They don't prevent crime. The National Guard gonna be there looking for shit, looking for crime. The crime ain't gonna be looking for them. They're gonna be standing out like a sore thumb. They're gonna be looking for crime. The police gonna be reacting to crime, but the crime's still gonna be happening. It's just gonna move deeper underground. You're gonna catch some, ain't gonna be no. The crime was on the decline anyway, but it ain't gonna be no open and obvious shit going on. Not while the National Guard troops are there. And now, how long will the National Guard troops motherfucking be there? How long can they afford to keep them troops in them cities like that? That's gonna get goddamn costly. Are they going to take it from that $174 billion that they gave to ICE to fund this deployment? How they going to do that? Maybe that's just already built in. But anyway, it's going to get costly and time consuming. And it's going to be diminishing returns at the end of the day. Because like I said, these cities, all of the real crime, they already know about that. And they're going to go in and make a show of force and show how big and bad they is. But eventually, a permanent occupying force in every large city run by a black man or black woman in the United States, or Hispanic in the United States. A permanent motherfucking occupation of every big city who has a black or Hispanic mayor. Is that what y'all gonna do? And I don't even know any mayors that, any Hispanic mayors that have in their city occupied. Just the black ones. So you're gonna do that permanent. How long that gonna go? How much that gonna cost? How much will that cost to occupy all them motherfucking cities. And for how long? I mean, they say 30 days is the limit, but Donald Trump ain't gonna be out of them towns in 30 days. What you go? I remember during the campaign, Donald Trump said something about letting the police go, which is one day, and let them beat the hell out of everybody. It's gonna be bloody, but they'll clean it up. All of that bullshit he was talking. He wants that. He wants that day. He really does. He wants that real bloody day to happen so he can, impose martial law. So he can run up in people's house and kick their door in and all of that shit. Don't give him the fucking satisfaction. Don't give him the satisfaction. Nah. Right now, if to the knuckleheads that's out there, y'all need to be making truces. For real. To the knuckleheads that's out there, y'all need to be chilling the fuck out. For real. Because y'all can't take on the National Guard. And y'all can't hustle in the open no more. And y'all can't, blah, blah, blah no more. Because they can see y'all with their drones. I mean, y'all know they can see y'all with their drones. Just like they be in drones looking down on people in the Middle East. They see y'all too. I mean, that go for everybody, for the militias out in the woods to the bangers in the hoods. That shit rhymed. From the militias out in the hoods to the bangers in the wood in the hoods. They can see y'all with their drones. They know where you are. They really do. The only reason y'all still functioning, I mean, and this is the thugs and gangsters and redneck militias and out there are what they being made out to be. They see y'all and they can stop y'all anytime they wanted to. You know what I mean? They could stop y'all anytime they wanted to. I mean, but it'd be real nasty. Because they're not going to come up with any real solutions like legalizing drugs or, increasing opportunity for people. Economic opportunity for people. They ain't going to do that shit. They want to lock everybody up and feed their prison industrial complex. And they want a constant supply of new people to put in them motherfuckers. So they ain't going to really solve no problems. It ain't like the National Guard hasn't been called into the streets before. You feel me? So we're going to see how long they stay in these cities and what happens after they leave. Like Smokey said, when they leave, we'll be banging again. We'll be hustling again. I'm gonna get y'all straight on some shit. I know that there's some situations out there that need to be handled in a special way when it comes to, running your city. But I also know that, people got to do what they got to do to survive. I also know that motherfuckers go war with each other over money and the pursuit of money. I know all of this bullshit. I think at this time, after having lived all these years, I ain't gonna never see nothing change. Everything that's going on now is something I've seen before. It's gonna take a straight meteor strike to straighten out the whole world, really, but the United States in particular. Because to me, the whole system need to be dismantled from the top straight down to the bottom. The whole criminal justice system, the whole United States government, the way it functions. Because the Constitution itself is good. But these motherfuckers don't care nothing about no Constitution. And these young cats out here, they don't seem to be afraid to lose their life over or whatever. As long as because they got to survive, they got to eat. So they're going to do what they got. Everybody feel like they're going to do what they got to do. People greedy. People hungry. People tired. And then you got the motherfuckers in the middle like me. And we, getting pulled in both directions. On the one hand, you want to do things the right way, and on the other hand, you want to take shortcuts like everybody else. But shortcuts don't lead to nowhere but long fucking cuts. So, right now, it's a waiting game. Right now, it's a waiting game. All we're going to do is wait and watch the show play out and see how long Donald Trump keep them troops in Chicago and what they're going to do when they get there. Anyway, that lecture was a little longer than I thought it would be, but I hope y'all can make some sense of it. Thanks for coming by and listening to me talk my shit. I will catch y'all on the next one. TC, and I'm out. Peace.